Welcome to Your Hero Academia by Fangirl48 on AO3. Chapter 2. Big Brother is always watching. Green Eyes look longingly at a large cup. I will not be bribed. A civilian-dressed Present Mike nodded at Midnight, who pulled out something to place it on top of the table, next to the drink. I can. It's your favorite, Midnight purled, pointing at the bag. Inside contained Izuku's favorite treat, next to a large to-go cup of coffee. I can absolutely be bribed, the boy said, reaching out and grabbing the drink and the pastry from the heroes. Thank you for the food. The pair high-fived each other secretly. They hadn't broken someone this fast since Shota adopted his last cat. Izuku set to work devouring the pastry, pausing only to take a sip of coffee, relieving in the taste. Toshi never let him have any coffee anymore, not since that chat with Recovery Girl and Shota about healthy nurturing. At the beginning of Izuku's beach cleanup, the pair had gone to see the woman. The beach was perfect place for Izuku to work on his grief, and it also allowed a great way to exercise and build up his strength for the upcoming entrance of the hero course. And another important part of the building was strength that came with setting up a healthy meal plan. In a weird, twisted way of faith, such a task was perfect for Toshinori. The man had secretly pursued a diploma in his youth in nutrition. While he was... The man had secretly produced a diploma in his youth in nutrition while he was in the United States. The tall blonde also had another official administration that he had masqueraded as All Might's secretary. Izuku had joked about getting Toshinori a pair of glasses when he found out. The comparison going right over everyone's heads sadly. Neither male had any idea that Aizawa had also been listening in on their conversation. The underground hero had snuck into the infirmary and had been sleeping on one of the beds. That is, until he had snuck out from behind the curtains. Izuku was not ashamed to say that he and Toshi let out a squealed scream when the yellow sleeping bag had slid out from underneath the curtains. Coffee, that was once Izuku's lifeline, had been banned until after exams, much to his horror. The green-haired boy had tried to argue, but Aizawa, the hero, just gave him a deadpan stare. Even Nezu had gleefully gone into the ban, letting the rest of the staff know. Lunch Rush would no longer give Izuku his favorite drink. The chef hero would instead pat Izuku on the head and give him a glass of milk when he tried to use the puppy dog eyes. So, Izuku said, wiping the thumb away, looking at the pair. What do I have to do again? Well, you see, Midnight started explaining. Recommendation exams are usually straightforward. Heroes stay in one area while examinees take the test. Apparently, years back during one, a hero used their quirk to give the candidates help. Of course, the candidates didn't know this and was later admitted to general studies, but it caused a bit of a mess at the time. Most heroes normally comply with the rule now, and there isn't a problem. But this here? Endeavor's recommending his son, President Mike interrupted, cutting right to the heart of the matter. And since he thinks rules don't apply to him. Endeavor, Izuku said. A constipated face surrounding by fire suddenly appeared in his mind. Oh, Flame Guy. You got it, President Mike nodded, giving a thumbs up. That's why Nezu wants you to go undercover in the exam groups. He also wants us to tell you that this is a part of your own exam. My exam? We already know that you ace any written and practical thrown at you, Midnight exclaimed. Memories of the first time the heroine watched the video of Izuku fighting against power loader robots. So, Nezu decided on something different for you. You're going to be into the exam blinded completely. Your task is to observe not only the students' quirks, but also their personalities. Your observation and judgment will be taken into consideration when the students are being chosen. Nezu basically wants you to use that big brain of yours when it comes to the selection this year. President Mike simplified. And speaking of the upcoming year, have you told your brother what you're planning to do? Izuku's face dropped, almost as if a dark cloud had appeared. I have, but he hasn't responded to me. I think he's mad about my decision. Messages between Izuku and Hasashi had started out small. Both brothers asked if the other was okay, if they were safe, eating well. Things had quickly progressed from there. Hisashi started asking questions that only Izuku would know. What sort of flower was in Inko's wedding bouquet? Mikuro's favorite stuffed animal. How Tomura got the scar on his elbow. Eventually, Izuku had gotten fed up with the constant questions and demanded to know why Hisashi was interrogating him. Hisashi apologized, and then asked one final question. Where have you been? Izuku hadn't known what to say at that time, spending days agonizing over how to tell his brother and using the beach cleanup to work out some of his frustration. Finally, he had asked Toshi what to do. The man was surprised for a second before a strange look came to his face, and he told Izuku to tell Hisashi everything. The whole story from waking up underground with no idea what had happened, that the hero had found him and taken Izuku to the police, that he had been learning from Nezu at UA and wanted to be a hero. Toshi had only asked Izuku not to tell Hisashi about his involvement. Your brother and I have a very bloody history. Even if he's not as active as 5 years ago, he still has powerful allies. If All for One finds out that All Might of all people is looking after his kid brother, well, he might just ask them to do something stupid. So Izuku did just that. He explained the whole story, even telling Hisashi something he hadn't told anyone else yet. One night, when he was working on the beach, and it was super cold, Izuku had suddenly been hit by a memory. He remembered beating his hands against something like glass, unable to move much as shadow forms just watched him from the other side. The world became colder and colder until Izuku could no longer take it anymore and lost consciousness. Looking at cryogens, Izuku found viably nothing on the subject since in the modern era, but tracing it back, there were a few sleet of scientists that had been working on it, in so-called dawn of quirks. It was clear after that someone had given him the Stephen Rogers experiment. It was clear after that that someone had given Izuku the Stephen Rogers experience. It was clear after that someone had given Izuku the Stephen Rogers experience. But unlike Cap, who took a quick nap and woke up after 50 years, Izuku had a lengthier experience. Upon hearing that, Hisashi had immediately demanded that Izuku come find him, but Deploy declined. As much as he wanted to see his older brother, it still felt too soon. Izuku was still sorting out his memories, feelings, and what he wanted to do. Hound Dog was helping him where he could, but Izuku suffered from classic Shigaraki stubbornness. Telling Hasashi he wanted to become a hero had simply not gone over well. Thus, the silent treatment he was receiving from the man. Although there were times when Izuku could swear he felt someone watching him. Izuku, yo, little listener! A pair of fingers snapped in front of Izuku's face, snapping him out of his thoughts. Ground control calling Izuku. Can you hear me? What? He asked, looking at the pair. Sorry, what were we talking about? Your brother, President Mike repeated. Izuku sighed, still ignoring me. Well, it's no surprise there, Midnight spoke. sipping her own drink. Suspension quirks almost completely unheard of. No one knows how much about them or how they work. Being held in one for over 30 years, only to come back and find out your brother is a kingpin of some large criminal organization must be hard on the both of you. The R-rated heroine turned around and winked. Which is why, if you ever need to pick me up, just let me know. I've always given a cutie like you a hug. Izuku gave the woman a deadpan stare. I'm still too old for you. So cold, Numeru swooned. Izuku started laughing, and was quickly followed in turn by the two heroes. Across the street, a camera glistened in the sun, lens zooming in on the cafe's table. Suspect: Izuku Shigaraki. Status: laughing. A small Nomuro spoke robotically from on his spot on All for One's desk. Subject: Hero. 19. Present mic. Status: laughing. Hero number 20. Midnight. Status: laughing. Conclusion: subject appears happy. The doctor stood beside the Nomu, studying it. How has this Nomu been working for you, Sensei? Mending the parts together like you asked, provided to be quite the challenge even for me. As always, you have succeeded, Izuku. All for One said, his fingers tracing the table that ran from the computer to the back of the Nomu's head. This creature was different from the other Nomus Ichiro had created in the past. For one thing, the creature only had one quirk inside it. Terabyte. Might not sound like a flashy quirk, but with the information that All for One had downloaded in the creature's brain, it served its purpose as the man's eyes. Its only job was to watch Izuku from safely behind the camera. All for One was able to hack and report how his brother was faring. The symbol of chaos originally wanted to call Kirigiri and grab his brother, hide Izuku away for his own safety. But memories of Tomura looking at him with fear and anger as he wasted away a little more every day stopped him. Not to mention, all the heroes around Izuku made extracting him much trickier, especially that damned All Might. Why Izuku ever wanted to be one of those spandex-wearing the Plerians Hisashi couldn't understand. Then again, his baby brother had always enjoyed reading American comics and mangas when he was younger. I suppose when you showed me the pictures, Sensei, Izuku said, light reflecting off his glasses as he watched the boy explain something. Who would have thought your brother was still alive? And he claims to have been frozen for 200 years. That is what he told me. All for One hummed. You must have heard something about this, a rumor concerning cryogenics? To be honest, my scientists were abnormed or outright blacklisted in the earlier years because of this Department of Quirks. The doctor spoke, a trace of annoyance in his tone. Space travel, rewound energy, medical treatment, even something simple as organ transplant suddenly required mountains of paperwork. The blind man nodded, understanding what the doctor was talking about, adding his own 2 cents on the matter. Those without quirks did not want to risk infections, as I recall. If only they had known that all humans had the quirk factor behind them, and not just present, the world might have been a different place. The doctor sighed. But due to the long gap between those times, scientists had much time to catch up. Unfortunately, some areas were worse off because of the lack of interest. Why try and create renewable energy when someone had an electrifying quirk that can simply supply it? All for One made a sour face. He hated the way people forced responsibility off of others just because of their quirks. It was not fair to the people who were being forced, and would no doubt come back and bite humanity harder later on. Imagine if all the plot of those zombie movies actually happened one day. Hisashi doubled, people would even have enough brain power to figure out how to keep themselves safe. Instead, it would fall to the heroes to save them, and when they fell, so would society. What about cloning? Dr. Ukuro said, placing his hands on his chin and thinking about it. I've heard of people with duplication or learning quirks. Successful range between the size of DNA simple, and, well, they know the subject. However, for the young master, I would say it's impossible. Can you say that with 100% certainty, though? Offer One asked, with a dangerous tone. No, not with running his DNA. Dr. Izuku said honestly. Given a large enough sample, he could run the boy's blood through even tests possible. Even if the boy was a clone of some type of fake, then Izuku would find out. If not, well, it would be interesting to see what, like, all or nothing could do to a Nomu he was creating. Have you told Tomura Shigaraki about this? Ukuro asked, suddenly wanting to change the subject. His associate could actually provide useful at obtaining a sample. Tomura has his own task right now. Offer One answered, a fond smile on his face. And when it comes to me or the topic of family, he can be quite sensitive. Izuku resisted the urge to snort. Before I even introduced him to the idea of Izuku, I have to make certain the boy is who he claims to be. The heavy feeling in his stomach making itself known again. The feeling had made its home in Hisashi's gut, since All for One relieved the first reply from Izuku. My family will not fall into ruins again. I will protect them, even... All for One clenched his fist and focused unseeing eyes on Izuku's smiling face. Even if it means ripping this fake apart to find out what's left of my real brother. Okay, so Izuku and Hisashi are talking. I'm very much worried. Very much. Because I want the brothers to reunite, do not get me wrong, but I am deathly terrified of how it could go south so fast, you know? And, God, I'm worried. I'm worried. Are you guys worried? Because I'm worried. I'm especially worried for Izuku to meet Shigaraki, because I know damn well that's gonna go very south. I do not think they're gonna have the warm, oh my god, hi, you know? I feel it's gonna be like, please don't kill me. I want to kill you, you know? So I'm worried about that, very much. I'm worried about the brothers' reunion, because it could go either incredibly wrong, or it could be nice and heartwarming and wonderful, or one of them could die. Okay, look, major character death is not listed, but the amount of times I've gotten hit by untagged major character death is too much to count. Too much to count. I ain't taking the risk. I'm just saying. It is a possibility. Look, the chances are low, but never zero. Ever. But, alright. On to the thing you guys are probably wondering. That 1 week of just disappearing. A week and a half? Has it been 2 weeks? I don't know. Yeah. I've been going through a bit of a tough time with my personal life. I got friend dumped. That's all you guys are gonna know. Unless I decide to do what I was gonna do on TikTok. But that's on another case. But as I was saying, it's been a rough couple weeks for me. And thank you for being patient with me. Those in the Discord found out about the break beforehand, and it wasn't a surprise break. So if you want to know about things like this, go over in the Discord, and I will inform you guys if a video is going to be late and why it's going to be late. I will inform you guys if I'm going to take unexpected breaks and stuff like that. But I'm back from my break, and I am glad to be back. And as always, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds, have a wonderful day or night. Join our community Discord server, link is in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content. And thank you so much for watching.